Breaking the gray.
Boom. That's right. Bonus content. Everyone loves bonus content. That's why we got Sarah to give you her quick hacks, on-the-go content just for you about specific things that we know are going to help you along the way. Take a listen. Here we go.
All right, Sarah, back yet again. In our sports analogies, in baseball, they call it extra innings. So we're now in extra innings, giving like extra. Yeah, it is like cricket. Probably boring, never-ending sport, but it's my favorite. I love it. And if anyone's listening to this, I do love baseball, but it can get a little boring. Today, we were just chatting a little bit about something interesting to a mushroom fellow at a farmer's market who was selling chaga. And I said, I got to talk to Sarah about mushrooms. Let's talk about mushrooms because there seems to be a very special, these are God's gifts, I think, or they're gifts. No, but mushrooms are very special on this planet. What's your feeling about mushrooms being a rebel scientist?
Well, I like going to Finland for my biohacking things. And so I've developed a love for mushrooms, mainly from going there for the last however long it's been, 7 years or whatever, because they have a very special relationship with mushrooms because they're all about the forest. There's a lot of actually Finnish products that I use that are mushroom based. And funnily enough, I've just bought another big batch of my mushroom coffee that I have in the morning and also mushroom cocoa, which is basically organic coffee, and then it's got one of the medicinal mushrooms. So I think the one that I'm drinking right now is Chaga, which is the one that you probably saw, that great big one that grows on the birch trees, which is very cool. There's one with lion's mane, which is in the cocoa, which is a funny looking mushroom. It's kind of almost furry looking, but it actually looks a little bit like a brain. It's kind of white and it has that shape. And it does have a function in connectivity in the brain. So okay. That's a cool one. So I'm drinking it right now. That's how I'm getting my mushroom intake.
Okay. Now, I think there's, a lot of misconceptions about mushrooms, right? Like there's the psychedelic mushrooms, there's mushrooms that you can't eat because they will make you sick. And in some cases you can liver failure or body function failure. But then there's the ones that are good for you. How do you, is there something or some easy way to identify the difference between these types of mushrooms?
You know what? I think because the risk is extreme, it's not just like you might stub your toe or something. No, you might die. So I think actually you do need an expert to go identify them if you're going to forage for them yourself. Although I have to say, whenever I've gone traveling, I don't know if you ever go on Airbnb. I use Airbnb all the time. Yeah, and then you can get experiences. Normally, if you go somewhere foresty, there's somebody offering and identify mushrooms or look for mushrooms. There are people who do these wonderful things. But in the meantime, there are also a lot of fantastic products that you can buy off the shelf. Like this one that I'm drinking, it's a product. It's called Four Sigmatic.
Okay.
I think, but they do some wonderful mushroom products where that's done for you. Because, obviously it depends where you're living too.
Yeah.
What kind of mushrooms are around.
Why are mushrooms so amazing? Is it their antioxidant levels? What makes them such a powerful part of a biohacker's life?
Well, mushrooms have got all kinds of very interesting chemicals in them. And I would highly recommend, if you haven't seen it, to watch Fantastic Fungi.
Okay.
It's fairly recent, I think, and it's an expert, someone who's kind of a hobbyist and now has become an expert. His name is Paul Stamens, and he is the star. They kind of show you how you look for medicinal mushrooms and then all of the amazing properties. And I think one of the most interesting things about mushrooms are that they grow in the forest, but the actual mushroom you see, that's just the fruiting body. That's just a very small part of it is under the ground. And it's like the communication system under the ground. And actually trees and plants use those, the rhizomes, the mycelium, it's called, to connect. And so the whole of the forest and of the earth is connected via mushrooms. And I think a lot of people, when they're using the psychedelic ones, you get that feeling of connectivity. And I think that's why people do it. But from a chemical point of view, there are medicinal substances in all different mushrooms. And in fact, they can be used for lots of medical purposes. And then if you're eating them, like I say, I'm just drinking them in my coffee, you are actually getting some pretty amazing benefit, very small amount of some of these different species of mushrooms.
Sure. So let's do a sprint here. Favorite mushrooms, their benefits, and how do you consume them? So let's start with chaga.
Chaga is the big. It's for the immune system. It triggers the immune system. I drink that one in coffee. Okay. Reishi, again, for the immune system. I have had that in some fantastic that you can get. To be honest, the ones that I've eaten that are totally unusual, in Santa Cruz, they have a fabulous farmer's market, and maybe it's not too dissimilar to the one I know you're up there in California too. Did you have the pink oysters, the big king mushrooms, and what are those little tiny ones that they do there? I mean, I can't remember the name of those, but having an assortment of mushrooms, like if you can, like the of fresh mushrooms, plus then maybe having some of these medicinal ones like turkey tail, lion's mane, reishi, cordyceps, all of those ones you can get in these products.
Sure.
Yeah, sorry, I interrupted you. What's your favorite?
It's
super. You're not a big mushroom man.
I'm going to be after this. This is why we're doing this. You're convincing me. The mushroom man. We're making those t-shirts. That is merch we're going to sell. I'm a mushroom man, or I'm a mushroom woman. Let's talk about turkey tail real quick. You mentioned that. It looks like a brain. It's furry.
No, turkey tail doesn't. Turkey tail does actually look like a turkey tail, and it grows off of dead wood.
Oh, it does.
It's kind of like a fan mushroom. But again, it's one of those that looks very similar to something and poisonous. It's very similar, maybe a slightly different brown. So you have to be very careful. But actually, turkey tail, it does grow where you are up in the redwoods of California. Again, very medicinal and very good for the immune system. A lot of these, their main benefit is that they trigger the body's natural immune system so that you have immunity against a lot of things. But, right now with all the respiratory stuff going on, it's a brilliant idea. Yeah.
And the lion's mane, you touched on it a little bit. What about lion's mane?
Yeah, that is the white furry one.
Okay.
It's a very interesting mushroom. But the interesting thing about that is that it has been shown to increase connectivity of neurons in the brain.
Okay.
So if you're getting a bit older, if you're worried about, neurodegeneration, dementia, that's a brilliant one to have. And you can fry these with butter and it's delicious, but you can also have them in these products where you don't even taste it. If you're not a mushroom, maybe get one of these cocos and, you're getting the additional benefits of, the theobromine in the cocoa, you're getting the lion's mane, you're really stimulating the brain. There's some really good
I've seen them in chocolates and little chocolates they sell them in all these different types and forms. So any final takeaways to turn our from people?
Well, I would say look at the resources, watch the fabulous movie, look at the different ways you can get it if you fresh variety, but normally wherever you are you can get something. And I like them just with butter. That's the best way, totally delicious. But experiment, try and integrate at least one form of mushroom into your diet the next week, say. That's a challenge for people.
All right. You challenged me first, then we'll come about it. Thank you. You are yet again changing everything about whatever I do in my daily life. I will come back and we'll talk about the fact of whether I'm a mushroom man or not.
Oh, I think you will be. Okay.
Me too. Thank you.
All right. Take care, Russ.
The Rebel Scientist Podcast is a Breaking the Gray production. Created by Russ Eisenman and Paul Wood. Hosted by Sarah Turner. Music and sound editing by Logan Shea. For more information and other fantastic podcasts, visit breakingthegray.com. That's gray with an E. breakingthegray.com.
Breaking the gray.